Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Today is February 4th. This is your 2-week reminder that it is almost Valentine's Day. And we're doing government and social stories to start your week.
Feb the 4th, chocolates.
Yeah, chocolate. It's almost chocolate. At the very least, you will be getting discount chocolate in like 2 weeks.
That's really what we all need, right?
Yeah, well, just fill yourself up with palm oil and whatever's in there.
I need to feed my addictions. And the addiction of government spending, it seems, will be fed prolifically, especially in the defense sector.
Trump executive order calls for next generation missile defense shield. Now, I'd just like to point out the kerfuffle that we've had about, we should, put spending on hold and people should do a voluntary exit and blah, blah, blah. If you're a federal employee, you're only responsible for, it's like, 1/6 of the total budget? It's contractors that eat $2 trillion of the national... The contractors are untouched. In fact, the contractors have been tasked with building the missile shield.
But that's the weird thing about that plan is, like, overall spending is not planned to be reduced. It's planned to be increased.
Yeah.
So, like, what's it all going to be? Well, this is probably a big chunk of it. It's going to be... he described it as the Iron Dome, but that's actually not how it seems like it's going to work. Maybe major cities will get their version of it, but it's actually going to be space-based. This is going to be Reagan's thing.
So, listening to the actual words, I think what he was visualizing in his brain was when Iran attacked Israel, and he's like, we need that, but we need that for the whole country.
Yeah, that's the Iron Dome.
Yeah. I mean, that's what he means, I think.
Actually, it's not just the Iron Dome, right? They got, like, David's Sling and the Iron Dome. They might have 3 different things.
Yeah.
Because it's like one for missiles, one for rockets, and whatever. We haven't been hit with a lot of rockets. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Also, the U.S. is a lot bigger.
Yeah.
Well, that's the space-based thing. So it seems like the big fear is the hypersonic missiles, which float basically in space. And I guess they'll get those up there. It's ambitious.
If only we had some sort of very advanced technology that could phase in and out of existence and couldn't be shot down in order to intercept those technologies.
Well, we definitely don't have that. We were told nothing. We were told that people didn't know who clearly were lying about that. I guess we shouldn't be surprised unless this is yet another lie.
The White House says the New Jersey drones were authorized to be flown by the FAA. But there was another press release this morning from the mayor of Jersey City, New Jersey, and he said that 3 of these came and hovered over his house last night and could not have been more than 20 feet off of his roof. And he's like, I've never seen anything like this. I don't know what they were. And if they're gone, why are they still there over my house?
Does nobody in New Jersey have a gun?
They've shot at them.
Yeah, I'm baffled.
The guns just don't seem to do anything. It's weird.
So
there's a reason it's not happening here. I'm saying that.
In the space aliens have decided that it's time that we know that there's non-human intelligence in the galaxy timeline. I'm not saying it's that. It's fun to imagine. Wouldn't it be something if this is the timeline where they land and it's like a YouTuber that's like making disclosure, like Mr. Beast is filming out in the Utah desert somewhere. And they land. That's just so delightful. And they're just like, we're live streaming this right now. Hello, how's it going? Galactic Federation, you say? Interesting. I don't know. I just really like that thought.
Well, the story of the week continued to be DeepSeek. That was pretty much everything in the headlines this week. And so, of course, the government has to weigh in on that. White
House looking into, quote-unquote, national security implications of DeepSeek's AI. Okay, this is really simple. This is a recurring theme from a bunch of stories in this week's episodes. DeepSeek released some stuff you can download and run on your computer. That is completely safe. DeepSeek also has an app that you can download, and that runs things on cloud computers that you don't control. That is less safe. In fact, you probably shouldn't do the latter. The former is completely okay.
Is the picture in that article, it feels a little AI generated, maybe just smoothed within an inch of its life.
It feels very...
artificial.
Canned.
Yeah.
You think they told him, give us a thoughtful look?
I don't know, something about the hair feels smoothed over.
And big tech is, the government, that's sort of the new thing. They've all just transitioned into being what this government wants them to be, at least in public. But has it been enough?
J.D. Vance says big tech has too much power to shape our thoughts and opinions. And the federal government should get involved to directly shape our thoughts and opinions.
Did you see his little petty comment about how his family had a better seat than the tech moguls at the inauguration? I was like, really?
I don't think it was
Really?
a petty comment. I think it was a way to sort of like downplay how much they were given in that.
Yeah, but I mean,
transaction.
it's just so stupid. What a silly thing to even care about.
Oh, I think the people care about it. I think a lot of people are noticing. It's like, wait a minute, the rich people are all just taking control. And here we go, the rich people. And a lot of people feared this when we had an FCC change because the previous FCC was actually flirting with getting rid of this. Now that will not happen.
The FCC chair helps ISPs and landlords make deals that renters can't escape. This is rampant in New York City. This is what led to a lot of the rot in New York City, in my opinion. Basically, if you own a building, an apartment building, you can go to an ISP and say, hey, give me money, and I will make it so that you're the only option available to my building. And somehow, that's permitted in the capitalist system.
In fact, well, no, that's not quite true. You're not allowed to restrict other companies from coming in if you can convince them to, but you might still have to pay to get the incumbent one. So you could pay an extra fee and get a different one if you wanted, but no sane person would do that, obviously. So it's based. They're saying, "Oh, we're not stopping you from doing anything. We're just taking your money." And the influence of the tech bros is definitely being felt. It seems like a lot of delegating is being done to Elon Musk, and people are a little bit concerned about that.
The Hill's headline is OPM sued over privacy concerns with new government-wide email system. This is basically making it so that anybody could communicate with anybody else, or like there would be one giant government directory where you could open up stuff and work on that. And it's like, what possible problem could there be with that? It's like, well, it's not really good operational security, especially when we're talking about like field agents and counterintelligence operations and that sort of thing.
Previously, or currently, you have like managers in between, which has its own problems, I guess. But I don't know if they've thought that through. Also, the person in charge of it is a former Elon Musk assistant or something.
Yeah.
And people hate him, so.
I mean, on the surface, it seems reasonable. Like, oh, you should be able to look up and find and email somebody directly in government. But it's like, they're saying, it's like, no, it must follow a strict hierarchy. But what is unstated in this article is that serious operational security and also like spy hunting, counterintelligence operation type stuff, they didn't even consider that. And that is a big deal.
And we have some incendiary headlines. Buried in this article is the fact that it might not actually be that crazy because it's just a common thing that happens. But is it something that should be happening? Should we ever be doing this?
The 404 headline is Archivists work to identify and save thousands of datasets disappearing from Data.gov. But you can mirror Data.gov. I can mirror Data.gov. And it should be fairly straightforward to figure out what dataset has disappeared. And is that related to something nefarious or just the good old churn of data? My money's on the latter, but maybe the former. We'll know soon enough.
Well, it's 2,000 data sets. They point out that Biden deleted about 1,000 in his first month, I think. So more than usual, but not an unusual thing to happen. But that raises the question of, like, why?
Yeah, a lot of it they said was stuff from like NASA and NOAA, like some of our atmospheric and things like that.
We accidentally disclosed what the New Jersey drones are. We need to delete that data set.
No, I think it was, I mean, it's probably just like, 30 years of weather data from this particular area. And it's like, well, we need that. We should keep that. Like,
But also they pointed out that in many cases it's just links. So they're not hosting the data.
yeah, it's an index to it.
Which means it costs practically nothing. I guess maybe organizationally it's a problem.
Maybe we should move deleted data sets to deprecated. And it's like you can still download a deprecated data set. You just have to acknowledge, yes, this is deprecated.
Take a 1/100th of one of those Virginia data centers and just put it in the closet.
I'll mail you a USB hard drive. You plug it into the server, and we'll just put the deprecated data sets on that. How about that?
And the tech bros are definitely taking the reins of power. They are integrating themselves with the government.
OpenAI teases a quote-unquote new era of AI in the U.S. and deepens ties with the U.S. government, which is a headline that's going to keep me awake for a few days.
So Los Alamos is getting a supercomputer AI specific for the government, ChatGPT government version, that they can use to do what? I don't know.
It's just an AI chatbot they play games with.
I like that last week the hotness was all the AI assistant stuff. Like the general public may be starting to realize what a tremendous utility it is having an intelligent local run assistant that can help you do things. Or just help you figure stuff out on your own.
And Jeff Bezos was front and center there at the inauguration with his new love. And I guess he's going to be a big part of this, but he's supposed to be stepped away, right? However, he still owns a lot of these things or has controlling interest in them. And sometimes when you own so much, there are conflicts among your holdings.
The GeekWire headline is Bezos versus Bezos. Amazon sues Washington State over Washington Post requests for Kuiper records. That's Amazon's, satellite thing. So the Washington Post is doing an article. Somehow they got wind of the fact that, or somehow Amazon proper got wind of the fact that the Washington Post was doing these records requests. And so they have preemptively sued Washington State to limit the disclosure, they say, because the state has trade secrets. I like this for two reasons. One, how did the Amazon proper know what a newspaper was doing? The Bezos connection. This article doesn't do a great job of connecting that. But secondarily, the government has their data, and they're worried about the government accidentally disclosing their data. Boy, isn't it weird that shoe's on the other foot for a change?
Now, usually, you get your new FCC who's industry focused, and you would think that they would go toward that route to do something like this. But this is Hollywood. And Hollywood has chosen its horse a long time ago. I don't think they can even switch. It's been too bitter. So they're going with the left side of the aisle to do their draconian measures.
Democrat teams up with the movie industry to propose website blocking law. This is pretty draconian. It's DNS blocking, but you have to implement it if you 100 million in revenue or 100,000 subscribers. There's a couple small carve-outs for VPNs, but this looks like another shoot first, ask questions later, a la the DMCA. And it's like, oh, we think it's got built-in First Amendment protections. It has less built-in First Amendment protections than the DMCA, which has been used to silence critics and more.
There's a little bit more here in terms of what you have to go through. But as we've seen, this will just get automated. And
this is designed to be automated.
Yeah.
They do say the petitioner has attested under penalty of perjury to the accuracy of its claims. I don't think that'll ever get enforced.
No. Well, just like when is DMCA?
That's literally
Abuse.
the claim in the DMCA. And it's like there has never been, ever, a penalty of perjury. Ever in the history of all of in 30 years, nothing. And that's not from lack of abuse.
And you got to wonder, the government took a pretty hard line in terms of AI and copyright. And it was basically like, no. If it's created by AI, it cannot be a copyright. But now maybe that's changing because certain people...
$1 million donations? Yeah.
AI-assisted works can get copyright protection with enough human creativity, says the U.S. Copyright Office. So if you prompt AI to do something, you can't get copyright for the direct output of the prompt. But if you take the output and modify it, then yes, that's completely fine.
And mergers and acquisitions, you would think this would be a friendly environment for that, but perhaps not.
The U.S. DOJ sues to block Hewlett Packard Enterprise's $14 billion Juniper deal. The big problem that the DOJ has is the Hewlett Packard already acquired another networking company after going after Juniper, and they didn't, they weren't receptive to it, and so they acquired another company, and then HP's back now again. It's like, oh, we want to consolidate even more. DOJ says that's a smoking gun, that this is anti-competitive, foundationally anti-competitive, so we don't want to do that.
And we can all be happy about one thing in this, the new timeline, and that is the legacy media is dying. They did us such a disservice. It's good to see them go. But in some places, they are ingrained in government, and so they literally cannot be killed.
UK considers extending BBC license fee to streaming service customers. You got a license for that Netflix?
No, I do not.
If you're going to watch BBC content, you may have to have one.
I would not be happy about that.
No, I would not be either.
If I lived there. You can get past those, you can not pay that fee, but they'll literally come to your house and try to spy on you. And if they see you watching TV, you get some kind of violation. And over in the UK, they also have maybe mismanaged some budgets. This can happen on software projects, but boy, is this one egregious.
UK council selling the farm and the fire station to fund ballooning Oracle
Is
projects.
this a Wendell bait story?
Yes, it really is. Just
I read this. I was like, Wendell's gonna be furious.
yeah, it's just like, oh, you made a deal with the devil and something went wrong, huh? Well, who could have predicted?
So 2.6 million pounds was the estimate. The expected could be higher cost is 25 million pounds. And they're just selling stuff off to pay for it. They really want it. It's supposed to reduce government work in terms of like, you'll go online and you'll fill out forms and you'll do everything through the Oracle system and you won't have to wait in line or get a reservation or whatever, which sounds to me like replacing humans.
Yeah.
It's expensive to replace humans, as it turns out.
It must be going to replace a lot of humans in that little hamlet for them to spend that kind of money.
And we have heard a lot coming out of Europe about cloud services. They're all a little bit prickly that it's all American companies doing it, and there is no interoperability. The UK has organized a study.
Cloud Services Market Investigation, provisional findings. It's like what the Competition and Markets Authority has to say about, had provisionally found while investigating UK cloud services markets.
They didn't like it. They found no ability to move between them. They found starting costs were way too high for small businesses, and they were particularly pissed at Microsoft.
Did you get the feeling they stopped short of saying that you should be able to take your bought movies and music between platforms? Because it seems like that they were almost saying that, but then they were like, well, just give people a way to move their stuff from one service to another, never actually let them take possession of it.
Well, I think this was more along the lines of, like professional services on the cloud. So like, running your business through the cloud. Hard to get started. You have to work with American companies, and Microsoft does everything they can to fence you into their system. So like, if you don't like it, you're doomed.
From their perspective, though, isn't Microsoft basically an Irish company?
I don't think they see it that way. And they don't see that about Google either, who also has used those shenanigans in the past. And they are still fighting about this one that we thought was going to be over, but no.
The record €4.5 billion fine has punished its innovation, Google has told an EU court. So they're fighting for a lower fine. And by the sound of it, they're probably going to get it.
In fact, 4.5 has gone down to 4.1 already. They've managed to claw back that much. They want more. This was about Android putting all their stuff on their operating system by default. That hurt innovation. Or not being able to do that hurt innovation. Or no, being fined for doing that hurt innovation. That's what it is.
It's a convoluted web of logic there.
And boy, this is becoming a bit of a recurring problem, isn't it?
Every week.
Quite an expensive one.
NATO and the EU are on high alert as an undersea cable attacks have escalated in the Baltic. Since last week, 2 more cables have been damaged.
They really got a good expression on this guy. It's like, oh, not again.
Oh, I'm going to be in overtime again today, aren't I?
Well, not him. What's he going to do?
He's going to go out there and repair it himself.
Was this the article that had one of the Sweden and Finland are on high alert, and NATO, of course. But was this the article that talked about the? There's another one of the European, the old bloc countries that have lended some of their naval components. I can't remember.
Oh, was it Latvia?
Yeah. The Latvian defense minister is like, okay, we're going to give you some ships to help protect the cables. Because everybody recognizes the economic impact in that area. It's like, our internet's already crappy enough. We need all these cables.
So, yeah, I mean, we went a long time without having this problem, and now we have a lot of it. It's suspicious.
Yeah.
And Italy has been, actually, they're one of the European countries that's quick to just cut off technology.
Yeah.
Like, no, we don't
I
want
really did
it.
that with TikTok as well.
Yeah, just get that out of here. And they are the first to respond to DeepSeek.
Italy's regulator blocks Chinese AI app DeepSeek on data protection. This is the app, not the thing that you can download and run yourself.
DeepSeek, their response was kind of like, Italy,
We don't like pizza that well anyway.
The one thing that has been remarkably consistent about the DeepSeek story is that this was a side project for people that work on financial type stuff, and everybody has spun up a copy of DeepSeek in the cloud. So like you have the DeepSeek AI, but like Baidu, I think at this point has a copy of it running. Microsoft Azure added a copy of it running. So like if you talk to DeepSeek in Microsoft's AI cloud, there's nothing unsafe about that because there's no data that's leaving Microsoft's cloud. It's exactly as safe or as unsafe as it is to talk to Microsoft.
I was just about to say, there's plenty unsafe about it. It's just it's not China.
Yeah.
It's Microsoft.
But you can also download it and run it locally. Like there's perfectly reasonable versions that'll run even on potato class computers.
And if you are a poor nation, that is exactly what you're going to be doing. And some of the people in India clearly understand the difference that maybe the people in other governments aren't understanding.
Everybody here is so confused. India lauds Chinese AI lab DeepSeek plans to host its models on local servers. So India has said, this is an amazing tool. It does a lot of amazing things, which is also my opinion. We're going to run it ourselves to be sure that it's completely safe and that the questions and the interactions that we have are not being shared with people that we don't know.
And they actually have some kind of program where they've been getting as many H100s and H200s as they can get their hands on. And they're like, oh, we've got exactly what we need for this. Yes, we're going to run it and let people use it. And Pakistan, we've recently learned, have really cracked down on social media, like really cracked down on it. But that apparently was not enough.
Pakistan outlaws disinformation with imprisonment up to 3 years. So this is a follow-up to last week, basically. I guess their old prime minister is going to be in for less than 3 years then. So they've probably only got a year left for time served.
Now, they did have a carve-out in here about...
if you're the prime minister.
Yeah, probably.
No. Intentionally disseminate with a reason to believe it's false or fake or likely to cause a sense of fear, panic, or disorder or unrest. So that's a giant loophole. They are kind of saying like you have to do it on purpose, but I don't think that would save you in practice.
No.
Think about how many of the Jersey drone stories would fit under that. It's like, what's going on with these drones in Jersey? It's like, there's a lot that would fit under that umbrella.
Like the White House press releases?
Yeah.
They knew it was fake.
Yeah.
And there are, like Italy, maybe it's a little inflammatory. India, it makes a lot of sense. U.S., who knows? But there is one country who has a good reason to not like DeepSeek because they are personally blocked inside of it.
Taiwan says government departments should not use DeepSeek, citing security concerns. This is, again, the cloud service, not running it locally.
But even if they run it locally, it won't talk about them.
Yeah, it won't talk about a lot of things, as it turns out.
And here is a feel-good story. We get so few of these, but you gotta love it when somebody actually fights back and wins.
Nintendo loses after trying to oppose the trademark for a Costa Rican grocery store. We covered this when it was happening, and we thought that Nintendo would just crush them like the 800-pound gorilla it was. But nope, Super Mario grocery chain. Featuring an actual Mario.
Yeah, dude named Mario. And so he argued there's nothing on my logo that looks anything like your stuff.
Not even the same colors, I mean.
The font might be, right? I think that's kind of close to the font they've used for some of those games.
But probably not the exact same, right?
Probably not. And they won. And in celebration, if you are in Costa Rica and you go to a Super Mario supermarket, you'll get a free sticker in celebration.
Yay!
Put that on your...
Still wasn't worth the headache.
Put that on your Switch.
Yeah.
And
Nintendo console of choice.
This was just Tom's Hardware getting the details completely wrong.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But they did do it.
Well, partly.
This is an ongoing thing where, yes, you can use this for certain things, but you can also run people over with a car.
The Tom's Hardware headline is Facebook flags Linux topics as cybersecurity threats. Posts and users are being blocked. This is mostly just links to DistroWatch, and all of this stemmed from a couple of security discussions about things like Kali Linux, but this got blown up into, oh my gosh, talking about Linux on Facebook is verboten, which was never actually the case.
It's still way too much censorship.
Yes, it is still way, especially after the whole like, oh, we don't have a Gestapo fact squad anymore, and it's like, well, you're kind of hypersensitive to talking about distro watch.
Where are the community notes?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that solve the problem?
How hilarious would that be? Like community notes on anything to do with a Linux distro? Like just like 20 of them. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be just pages and pages of madness. And perhaps pages and pages of madness might describe when you get that meeting request and you know you're going to have to sit and listen to Mark talk to you for a couple hours. But he is a little bit upset with what happens during those.
The 404 headline was, everything I say leaks, Zuckerberg says, in leaked meeting audio. That's not
This
the
is
headline.
my favorite headline of the week.
It's a great headline, but that wasn't the most bombshell thing in the thing that was leaked. It says, there's a bunch of things that I think are value destroying for me to talk about, so I'm not going to talk about those. But also in this, he said, buckle up, everybody. It's going to be an interesting year, or it's going to be an intense year. And it's like, ooh.
Yeah, I think there was also, they said that they would just fire anybody who they found out to be a leaker.
Yeah.
And some people might argue that that was even still not the most surprising thing that came out of that. And maybe this is the most surprising thing because he's not at odds with him anymore. So I guess you just give him $25 million, right?
Meta's going to pay $25 million to settle a lawsuit with Donald Trump over his 2021 Facebook suspension.
What's impressive here is they found a picture of Mark Zuckerberg sitting up straight without a spine.
Nice.
And that's Bezos's beau right there.
Oh, yeah,
right,
next
too.
to her.
She gets to be in all the halls of power with her bra.
Yeah,
Her visible
sticking out.
Yeah, so that's most of the major television networks, and now Meta, plus the meme coins. Has Trump made a record amount of money in January 25? It's been insane.
It's wild to me, too, that under different political administrations, you have the SEC coming after you for trying to have, a legitimate as you possibly can cryptocurrency platform. At the same time, you have other people in political power that are like, we're going to make a meme coin and we're going to rug pull it as soon as the value crosses this threshold. And people are like, okay, sounds good. Like,
Yeah, but BlackRock has an ETF now, so like all power has changed their mind on it.
well, it's like the blind justice lady statue. She's really not very blind these days. In fact, I feel like that somebody has put an AI in her brain and it's scrutinized and it's like, oh, you're a pleb.
She's got the Neuralink blind side. Her vision's been restored.
I mean, maybe she just took the blindfold off that she has in all the statues.
Well, one thing, the tech bros are getting their way, but there is one thing that Mark Zuckerberg cannot just turn around. He cannot change because it's always been a bad idea. It continues to be a bad idea.
Facebook's Reality Labs lost $17.7 billion in 2024, and there's kind of a ledger sheet here. It's like it sort of starts to break down how they lost $17 billion, but that is such a phenomenal amount of money for what Reality Labs is doing that I can't help but think that we could probably get this, like if for all the things that they're accomplishing, we probably could do it for like $1 billion, not 17. Like, how are they spending so much money? Is this like a government operation where they have to spend $17,000 on a toilet seat so that you don't know what they actually bought?
And another excellent example of censorship didn't go away. It just, the polls shifted. So it's still very much there. It just depends on what they're censoring.
The Guardian's headline is, groups helping Americans find abortion pills report Instagram is shadow banning them. Meaning that there's some communication interference. It's not working as well as it used to.
They point out that you can search the name, but if you leave the last word off, you'll never get that in your search results, even though it would be an obvious match. And they are technically doing something illegal, I think, because it is a prescription drug, maybe.
Oh, I don't believe that. They advertise prescription drugs on Meta.
Well, no, I'm not saying... Yeah, but like, that would be through your doctor. This is all about finding you a way to get that in places where you can't normally get it. Like, they're trying to hook you up with black market.
Except Meta allows that kind of advertising on their platform, so it feels a little hypocritical, doesn't it?
Oh, I mean, it's insanely hypocritical, yeah.
Yeah, it's like black market Zoloft.
Fish antibiotics.
There was an executive order that permitted algorithmic and remote diagnosis. So, like, you can do an iPad screening with somebody, and it's like, oh, I need to give you this prescription medication. That's okay now.
No, but this is abortion.
Yeah, but
So
I mean,
it's like,
couldn't you do an iPad consult with somebody in another state?
but some states have banned it, right?
Yeah, but
Oh, don't worry. They introduced federal rule about that too.
So yeah,
Yay.
so people are trying to get around that. That's why they're shadow banning. I mean, you can get a lot of drugs on Facebook, right? You can get a lot of drugs that nobody sells for legally on Facebook. And TikTok, what is the fate of TikTok? We have, what did he give it, 90 days? So we got some time left before that decision has to be made, and more people are throwing their hat in.
new bid for TikTok from Perplexity AI could give the U.S. government a 50% stake in the TikTok U.S. operation run by Oracle.
So that would be get it out of China, hosted by Oracle in the United States.
That's already happening.
Government gets 50%, but no votes. Which, what does that accomplish?
Oversight.
But if you can't vote,
Well, it doesn't matter. You don't want to vote. You want to monitor the citizens for dissidents and reshape their thoughts and opinions on things.
well, they're dying to have that shape because no one knows what to think without it. And if you don't have it, what are you going to do?
People are hawking TikTok loaded phones for thousands on eBay and Facebook. And this is mainly because Apple has not reinstated the TikTok application, even though it is no longer banned.
So you get a phone that's already got it on it, you got a gold mine. I don't know if a lot of people are snapping those up, though.
No, that seems dumb.
It might not be in a few months, but we'll see.
Your money's probably better spent on trying to get that 5090 before the tariffs kick in.
Well, that's going to be possible.
Also quite a bit more expensive. I think.
Yeah.
They were marking these up to like $1,000 or something where they might have paid $600 or $700.
I did
one-
see a lot of my younger relatives really freak out when it went down for a little bit.
One listed for $50,000. I doubt that one was
No.
purchased. TikTok doesn't have a web interface, right?
You can look at it on the internet.
Can you post?
I don't think you can post. Maybe you can. But I've had someone send me like a TikTok video and I just looked at it, not logged in.
All right.
That was it. That's it. We'll see you guys on Wednesday. Bye.